Hi everyone. In today's video, I am going to talk about unobtrusive data collection methods. Now, what is unobtrusive data collection methods? Now, you see, most forms of data collection, for example, interviewing, surveying, experimentation, and even most forms of observation, they actually introduce foreign entities into real world situations. And these entities, namely the researcher and the research process, cannot help but have some impact on the reality of the situations, events, or the people being explored. Researchers and researching have an influence on social environments. Yet, the influences implicit in traditional research strategies often go unrecognized, unacknowledged, and even ignored. The main advantage of unobtrusive research methods is that researchers and the research processes they adopt are removed from those who provide the data. There is no disruption to the social environment. The influence of researchers is controlled for. So the definition of unobtrusive research methods is methods of data collection in which researchers and research processes are removed from the researched. The direct interaction is avoided. As well as some forms of observation, unobtrusive methods include the exploration and review of pre-existing government data and records, corporate data, personal records, the media, the arts, as well as social artifacts. Now, especially if you are a qualitative researcher, I have mentioned this in my previous videos, qualitative researchers are deeply involved in the data collection process. And being involved in the data collection process, they often bring in their values, personalities, belief systems, perceptions into the data collection. And this is what you can avoid through unobtrusive data collection methods. So what are some of the advantages of this method? Well, you can explore evidence of what people have actually done. You can also allow yourself to acquire real world data from the real world. It will also allow you to capitalize on the vast amount of data already out there. You don't have to go and spend your time and money in collecting data. So it can be time and cost efficient. You can have non-verbal data as well as verbal data. It will provide you with rich, in-depth qualitative data and standardized quantifiable data as well. You don't have to worry about the need to physically access your research subjects, so it will minimize the stress for yourself as well as the respondents. You don't have to worry about the other aspects of qualitative data collection, such as building trust with your respondents, getting people to act naturally, role playing, figuring out how attributes such as race, gender, ethnicity, class, and age of researcher or researched might confound the data collection. So you can be neutral and objective and not yourself be allowed to be a force for change in the data. However, of course, there are some challenges when you use such data, unobtrusive data. Firstly, you have to work through the data, not expressly created to answer your particular research problem and the proposed research questions. The data is already out there. It was not collected to suit your needs. So you have to analyze the data to make sure that the interpretation of it can answer your research problem and questions. If it does not, then it is of no use to you. It will also overcome any you are become responsible. You as the researcher now are responsible to address the shortcomings or limitations that exist in the original data. So any kind of biases, inaccuracies, incompleteness, now it is your responsibility to address it, because you are using this data to justify answer to your research problem and research question. You also have to make sure that your own biases do not come into play when you are interpreting the data or the understanding of its data. You still have to keep your bias out of play. Right? You cannot take records out of context and just use it to suit your needs. You have to be able to justify it as to how the data which is out there already collected from the real world helps to answer your research problem. It protects the needs of the uninformed research, that is the protection of privacy, anonymity, confidentiality. So you don't get to know who the research respondents were. So you are not able to contact them if you need any kind of further clarification or you need to probe deeper into the data. You can't do that. So you will not be able to know most of the cases who the respondents were of the original data. And also you have to justify why you did not collect own data and why did you go about using the pre-existing data. So that is the biggest challenge you will have as a researcher. You may use this data as one of your one of the data, what we call is triangulation. So we use different methods to confirm our findings. So you can use this data for triangulation, but you need to justify, and the justification has to be very strong as to why you did not collect your own data, any new data, and why did you just decide to stick with the old data and use that as a basis to answer your research problem and research questions. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you soon with my next video. Bye for now.